Recent studies have shown that nearly one in every four high school teens in America have currently tried to vape. As more and more teens begin to vape, it is an epidemic that is sweeping across the nation before our own eyes. I've become an expert on this topic through countless months of research through websites such as the FDA, the CDC, the Surgeon General's office, and also through personal interviews done on my friends. As minors become teens, they will be exposed to the reality of high school, the peer pressure, the drugs, and the paraphernalia that is always associated with high school. As parents of those teens, it is important that you understand the risks to teens and that you are talking to your teens about those risks. Vaping is ruining lives of teens and they don't even know it. The nicotine is impacting their brain in many ways that they cannot even understand, which is ultimately affecting their health through different chemicals and carcinogens found in the juice, and as well as ruining their GPA and their test scores. Teens do not even know about the effects that nicotine can have on their brain. Nicotine can cause heart problems and could eventually lead to death. I went on to interview one of my close friends, Dante Matuzak, who currently is an active vapor. I asked him if he knows what vaping is, and all he told me was there's nothing wrong with vaping. All it is the inhalation and exhalation of a simple liquid. There's nothing in the liquid, it's just natural and artificial flavors. Which is true, as that is all it says on the back of the canister, but I did not believe that, and I wanted more in-depth research. After doing more research, I have found that in that juice, there's a high amount of nicotine. In one single Juul pod, which is what he vapes, there's one pack of cigarettes. One Juul pod lasts him about 2 to 3 hours if he is actively vaping. Through this nicotine, the frontal cortex of the brain is affected. The frontal cortex of the brain is involved with basic body and motor functions. The Children's Hospital of Philadelphia said, the frontal cortex of the brain is still in the development stage until the age of 25. As teens are inhaling nicotine, the growth cortex is stunted. What this is referring to is how, when a teen takes a hit of nicotine from the vape, they feel a sense of freeness, a sense of I can do anything, a sense of I can run this world, and I am invincible. Your body feels lighter, and you feel like you want this to happen more often. Unfortunately, it lasts about 20 to 30 seconds for those teens, and then they go on to take another hit. They've already created a dependence after that one hit, so they need more and more nicotine to keep on going. This has caused another study to be done by the Society Research on Nicotine and Tobacco. They found that 23% of vapors eventually smoke cigarettes versus 6% of cigarette smokers who never vaped but still smoke cigarettes. So knowing the dangers of smoking as growing up as a teen, but then going on to vape, and then from vaping, wanting to get that hit of nicotine and that sense of freeness, they move on to smoking. 23% of teens do that. Vaping, yes, is seen as a safer alternative to smoking, but there are still many different causes of carcinogens and chemicals that can kill you. While that has been researched by the Cleveland Heart Lab, they said the flavorings in vape juice block the cell's body to produce a heart-healthy gas called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide reduces inflammation, prevents dangerous blood clots from forming, and helps blood vessels open up to improve blood flow. Drops in this gas may damage blood vessels and lead to heart attacks and strokes. Heart attacks, strokes, simple diseases that are normally caused by obesity, but now are caused by vaping. Imagine your teens, your sons, your daughters. They come home, hey mom, I'm vaping now. That'll never happen, but they might be doing it behind your backs and you don't even know it. They never even knew what it was and now they're doing it. And then all of a sudden one day, you get that sad phone call. Your son is in the hospital, he just had a heart attack. This could have been prevented by a simple conversation with your son, before or after dinner, before they go to bed, just something small, just so that they know the risks that can happen through vaping. But as teens begin to vape, they start to feel like they're invincible, they can do anything. So they won't really listen to you as much as before. So if you get the information out early, you are more likely to stop it. Also, flavoring such as diacetyl, which was examined by the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, was found to be a chemical linked to a serious lung disease formed from benzene, which is found in car exhaust. So while most people associate lung disease with smoking cigarettes, it can also be associated with smoking through vaping. As teens have no clue of the chemicals hidden in the ingredients, they are associated with vaping and are attracted to vaping due to the flavors, due to the fun, exuberant, cotton candy, blue raspberry, cherry flavors that are presented to teens. This is what needs to be ended. The FDA is working on ways to regulate vaping, but they're not doing it enough. They need parents like you to talk to your teens. If this is not enough to convince you that vaping is ruining your child's life, a study done by the Detroit Press led by school teachers are leading this study. They found that 13.4% of US high school students use e-cigarettes. Those teachers said they're doing it in bathrooms, in locker rooms, in hallways, on school grounds. The most brazen of the students. They're doing it right in front of their classrooms. The teacher turns around for 5 seconds to write on the board. All of a sudden, your teen hitting it up, taking a vape, taking a hit of nicotine. What is really going on through their mind is unbelievable. As I've researched this, I've found that due to the high amounts of nicotine in these vapes, dopamine, which is a chemical in your brain, is being released. This chemical, from the Surgeon General, has shown that nicotine increases the level of dopamine in the brain, a neurotransmitter that is responsible for feelings of pleasure, feelings of well-being. When teens take a hit, their brain relaxes and shuts down for a minute. The dopamine that is released causes a sense of, I don't care. I forgot everything that I just learned. I just want to sit in the moment. This causes teens to forget everything they learned and for whatever they've learned before to become useless, as they just want to sit there and not think about anything. Students also are not able to comprehend as much information after this hit of nicotine. This is an epidemic that is sweeping across America. Simple conversations with your sons, simple conversations with your daughters could end this forever. I want to quickly end by showing you what a vape is. I asked one of my friends to let me borrow his so I could show you under this camera. So this is what a simple vape would look like nowadays. As you can see, there we go, there's a simple liquid in the tube which is heated up by this coil. It is absorbed through little pockets, as you can see right here, that help control the amount of fluid that you're taking in. This liquid is found to be in your lungs after a long period of vaping, which can cause popcorn lung as well. Vaping is ruining your teen's life. A simple conversation could end this. Vaping, the nicotine in the vaping is ruining your teen's brain. It is ruining how the brain is developing. It is ruining the information that is comprehending. The diseases, the chemicals, the carcinogens in the vape itself, in the juice, in the liquid, could cause death. That enough should be enough to scare you. Death. Your students, your sons, your daughters, they could die from vaping. But if that's not enough, also their test scores and their GPAs will fall, which could cause them not to get into college. This is a life or death situation. Your sons, your daughters, they could lose their life, as I said. We need you to have this conversation. We need you to talk to them. We need you to make sure that your sons and daughters are all informed of the many dangers and of how vaping can ruin their lives.